Hi there. My name is Alfred Ray. I'm a certified trainer and my company is Crest LLC. I teach Xactimate, and in this video we're going to talk about understanding stairs, some of the stair properties and some of the more confusing ones and what you need to know about stairs. So let's go ahead and get started. First, let's take a look at some stair properties. I'm going to put a set of stairs here. And let's take a look at some of these stair properties. All right, some of the ones that you really need to know is you need to understand this total rise, the tread base height. Some of them are pretty self-explanatory, like your riser height. And if you want to know what any of these stand for, just click on it. So like my total rise there is the distance from the floor to the landing. That's the red dimension that you see when you create stairs. So your total rise is from the floor to the landing. And then your tread base height is your distance from the floor to a landing. So if you have a set of stairs with a landing in it, the tread base height of the landing is the same as the total rise of the first set of stairs, because there would be a first set of stairs here. The distance from the floor to the landing would be the total rise, and that would be the same as the tread base height for the landing. So total rise of the first stairs is the tread base height of the landing. Same thing, same dimension. And right here, again, there's another picture of the total rise. And then the other things that can get a little confusing is your level height is the distance basically from the floor of the lower floor to the ceiling of the upper floor. And then you've got your top height and base height. And this is where it gets a little confusing. The top height and base height are basically the low point and the high point of whatever it is you're looking at. And we're going to go over some of those to kind of clarify those, because these two right here can get a little confusing, but we're going to try to take the confusion out of it. And by the way, if you're drawing stairs out in the field, if you have the total rise and you have the number of risers, which there's a picture of it right there, Xactimate should really do everything else for you. If you get those two things out in the field, you should be able to draw a set of stairs. So what I'm going to do to try to explain stairs and how they work is, let's say that we have here's your floor for the first floor. And let's say that we have an 8-foot ceiling height and 1 foot of structure. So we're going to say it's 9 feet from the first floor to the second floor. And then let's also say we have an 8-foot ceiling height on the second floor. So we have another 8 feet here, which gives us a total over here of 17 feet, right? 9 and 8, 17. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to build a set of stairs, or we're not going to try, we're going to build a set of stairs, and we're going to put a landing right in the middle. So we're going to go up 4.5 feet to the landing, and then we're going to go up another 4.5 feet. So 4.5 and 4.5 is 9 feet. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start a set of stairs. And as soon as I put down the first step, you'll see the red dimension. That's my total rise. So I'm going to take that total rise and I'm going to go as close to 4'6" as I possibly can. And I'm going to say, let's go right there, 4 foot 4.5. And I'm going to set my landing. And then I'm going to go up another 4.5 feet. I'm going to try to get as close to 9 as I possibly can. So my choice is 8, 9, and 1/16 or 9, 4. So I'm going to pick the 8, 9, and 1/16. And I don't need that landing, so there's our stairs right there. And just to make this exercise a little bit easier to understand, first I'm going to take all these walls and I'm going to tell it not to extend it a foot below so we can understand this better in 3D. So I'm going to go to the properties. And I'm going to say, do not extend my exterior surfaces down. And then I'm also going to delete those walls. I'm going to just make a missing end. So now my walls are gone. You got the stair railing there. And let's look at it in 3D. So you can see what we're trying to do. We're trying to go up 4.5 feet here. And then we want to go up another 4.5 feet here. So let's start looking at some of those properties. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make this stair 4.5 feet, 4'6" from floor to the landing, which is our total rise. So we're going to open up these properties here. And the first thing you want to do is you want to change the total rise. You don't want to change these guys up here first, because if you have a fraction down here, you won't be able to get rid of the fraction up here without some trouble. So we're going to change our total rise first to 4'6". And then we're going to take our level height up here which is the distance from the floor of the first floor to the ceiling of the second floor, and we're going to make that 17. And watch what happens when I hit enter. It's going to fix my base height and my top height. Notice how it changed my top height to 12'6", which is basically the distance from the top of what I'm working on, which is at stair number 1. The distance from the top of that stairs from 4'6" to 17 would be 12'6" right here. And then the distance of what I'm working on, notice my base height here is the distance of the bottom from what I'm working on to the top. So the bottom of the stairs to the ceiling of the second floor would be 17 feet. So that's what the top and base height is. It's the bottom of what you're working on to the ceiling of the second floor, and the top of what you're working on to the ceiling of the second floor. So that's where it gets a little bit confusing, and you'll see how that works as we move up the stairs here. So we got our 4'6", we got our 17, we got our top and our base height. So now let's work on the landing. So we're going to go over here and we're going to open up the properties to our landing. And the first thing you want to do is fix your tread base height. Remember, the tread base height is the distance from the floor to the landing, which is the same as the total rise of the stairs. So the 4'6" is going to be our tread base height. And again, we want to do this first so that our numbers will work out up here. So I'm going to change this to 4'6", and then I'm going to change my level height to 17. And when I hit enter, it fixes the other two. Now, notice my top height and my base height are exactly the same. Why? Because the landing is flat. So the top height and base height, same dimension, because the landing is flat, right? So the bottom of what I'm working on to the ceiling of the second floor is 12'6", 4.5 going up, and then another 8 feet. And then the base height is the same. Even though the pictures are different, it's the same because it's level. So the base height is also the top of the landing, which is the same spot, 12'6", another 4.5, and then 8 feet. So that's how they come up with those two numbers. Now, there is an error in Xactimate that I've reported, and they haven't fixed it yet, so hopefully they will soon. But one of the problems that you have is when you change the tread base height on the landing, it changes the numbers on the lower stairs. Notice how when I go back to my lower stairs, it changed my 4'6" to 4'7.5". So I'm going to change it back to 4'6". Actually, you know what? I'm going to show you what it did. 4 foot. The reason you need to change it back to 4'6". I'm going to change it back to 4'7.5". And you can see what it did was if I go into 3D, you see how there's that 1.5 inches right there. There's that 1.5 inches. So it changed that dimension. So make sure until they fixed it that when you change the tread base height on your landing, that you go back and fix the total rise on your lower stairs. Why it's doing that, I don't know. So to get rid of that and make it level, I'm going to go back to my lower stairs, change the 4'7.5" to 4'6". And now if I go into 3D, you will see that the stairs line up perfectly with the landing. All right, so now we need to fix our upper stairs. So we're going to go to our upper stairs. And again, our tread base height, it fixed it for us. It put it at 4'6", which is the level of the landing. And now we're going to come up here to our height level. And we're going to put in 17 and watch how it fixes the base and top height. Now, it did not fix I forgot to change the total rise here. So my total rise is 4'6". Now notice I've got remember I told you, you always want to do the total rise and tread base height first. Notice how when I change the total rise, it didn't fix my numbers up here. So you have to manually change it. And now it works out. It's 8 feet from the top of the upper stairs to the ceiling of the second floor, and 12'6" from the bottom of the stairs, the upper stairs, to the ceiling of the second floor. It was a happy accident. I showed you. That's what I mean by if I had changed this total rise to 4'6", when I did this level height, it would have fixed these two for me. But because I had a fraction down here, it didn't take the fraction out of here, and it didn't fix it. I had to manually fix it. So anyway, now that we look at our stairs in 3D, you will see that we have what we were looking for, which is we went up 4.5 feet to our landing, and then we went up another 4.5 feet to our second floor, and then we've got another 8 feet here, from essentially here to the ceiling, which is how we came up with a 17 from here to here. Now, the purpose of this video was to show you how to manipulate the numbers on stairs and stair properties and explain some of those stair properties. And I just arbitrarily picked 9 feet and going up 4.5 feet. Now, if you know stairs, you know that these stairs are not to code. You know, typically, like for example, you look at these stairs and I've got a different number of risers here than I do here. So what I'm going to do is, if I wanted to get a little bit closer, I'm going to open up the stair properties here. I'm going to change it to match the other one, 8. And when I do that, notice it makes my riser height 6 3/4 and my tread depth 11 1/16. And I'm not sure what the code is for stairs these days. It used to be something like 7 and 11. So if I really wanted to get closer to code, I probably would just take this and shorten it up a little bit. But you know, if you measure stairs in the field, you're gonna have actual dimensions of what was built there, and then you can manipulate these things. See, now I'm here at 6 3/4 and 10 15/16. So that's getting really close to code there, 7 and 11. So anyway, again, the purpose of this video was not to build a set of stairs to code, because you're going to be building what's out there, but basically to show you how to manipulate the numbers. All right, well, hopefully that gives you an understanding of stairs. And if you always change the total rise and the tread base height first, and then you put the level height, when you hit enter, it'll fix the other 2 numbers. If you forget, then you've got to manually do it and make it work out. Anyway, hopefully this is helpful, and hopefully you understand stairs a little bit better. And so we'll see you at the next video.